Good morning to Anada. Good morning, I say. Good morning, Sai. Yeah, myself, you, Shesha, you, Aditya. I have 18 years of experience. 18 years of experience. See, I'm providing the training is Python for core and advanced concepts. See, those are the content I have to cover. I can mention that the chapter wise, the language fundamentals, introduction, what are the features, limitations of Python, and what are the flavors, Python versions, identifiers, reserved words, keywords, right? And typecasting, all we discuss in the language fundamentals. And in the second chapter, we are focusing on operators, arithmetic operators, relational operators, equality operator, logical operator, bitwise operator, assignment operator, like that the different types of operators we'll discuss in the second chapter. And then in the third chapter, we are going to discuss the flow control, conditional statements, iterative statements, transfer statements, loops with else block, delete statement, and difference between del and none. Those are the flow controls we are discussing in this chapter. And string data type we are going to discuss in the chapter 4. What is string? How to define multi-line string literals? What are the behavior of slice operator case studies, mathematical operator for the string, length function, like that the string data type we are going to discuss in the chapter 5. Around I am taking the many things we'll discuss on the string data type. And also in the Python, it is providing the advanced data types are providing, that is a list data type. How we can create the list, how we can create the list, accessing the elements of the list, and what is the difference between the list and mutability, important functions of list, and regarding the list functions we are discussed on the chapter 5. Similarly, the list is there, tuple is there, the data type. We discussed on the chapter 5, the tuple related the programs we are discussed on the chapter 6. Set data type is also there. We'll discuss on the chapter is 7. Dictionary data type is there. Those are nothing but the data types. Advanced data types are there. We'll discuss. Those are the data types, advanced data types. Apart from the integer, floating, all those things, we'll discuss the advanced data types, list data type, tuple data structure or the data type, set data structure, dictionary data structure. And then we'll focus on the functions, how we can create the user defined functions, how we are understanding the predefined functions in the functions concept we are discussed here. And then the modules, what is the difference between the function and module we are going to discuss in this functions concept, functions and the modules concept. And in the 11th chapter is packages, how we can create your own packages, what are the predefined packages are there, how we can install those packages, we'll discuss on the 11th chapter. And the 12th chapter, and then the last that is 13th one, 14th chapter, 15th chapter, we are going to discuss on the oops concept, object oriented programming concept. What is an object, what is class, what is inheritance, what is polymorphism, all those concepts, the oops concept we have discussed. In the chapter 6 is we are going to discuss the exception handling. What is an exception handling, what are the types of exceptions are there, right? And try block, finally block, catch block, all those things we'll discuss on the exception handling. And file handling concept we'll discuss on the 17th chapter. Multi-threading concept is there, and also how the Python database programming and regular expressions and web scraping, decorator function, generator functions, assets, and Python logging, those the chapters we are discussing. First two, three chapters are the basic chapters, then the remaining are in depth we are going to discuss. See, I'll send it in the Syllabus in the chart box. I'll send it in the syllabus in the chart box. This is, we'll see the detailed content, what I covered in the Python core and advanced concept. Fine, fine. Now, today we are going to explore that the basic terminology, that is a introduction to the programming, what is language, what are the programming languages are there, what are different types of programming languages. We are going to discuss the basic terminology, introduction to programming, introduction to programming. Here we will cover what is language and what is programming language, what is programming language, and types of programming languages, types of programming languages, and translators, compiler versus the interpreters, and then the example program how to compile the Python. See, before I'm going to discuss the Python, the basics, it's very the simple programming language. It's very simple, the programming languages. See, just if you want to print the calendar of this month, how we can print it in the, how we can write the code in the Java and the C language, the many lines are there. But whereas in the Python, it's very simple. That is, if you want to print the current month calendar, it's very simple. See that, just before I'm going to explore the language and the programming languages, I'm using the Jupyter software I'm using. I'll tell you that how to install the softwares also. Where we can download the software, how to install the software, I'll tell you that. Just now we'll see that how simple in the Python programming we are understanding in the easy manner. See, if you want to print the calendar of the present month calendar, then we need to import the packages. By using the import statement, you need to import that package. Which package you need to import is, that is the calendar package you need to import it. Import the package name you are specifying. The package name is nothing but the calendar you are specifying. Calendar, you need to specify that. And then if you want to print the current month calendar, then you can use the print statement, the calendar dot the month. We can specify that the present month, we can specify that 2025. This is 0. Now we can run this. Yeah. See that the present month calendar will be displayed. That much of simple is there in the Python. Everyone can understanding that the Python programming languages. That is how to print the current month calendar. These many lines are there. If you are using the Java programming or the C programming, it's the lengthy code is there. That is how to print the current month calendar. Python program to print current month calendar. Current month calendar. This is the current month calendar can be providing. We can write this much of code is there. This much of code is there. Okay. Now, if you want to print the current year calendar, it's very simple. Just you need to mention the year only. You need to mention the year only. No need to mention the month. You need to specify the year only. Then the current month year can be provided. See, if I am using the previous year, import calendar.month, calendar.calendar. You need to specify that. Calendar.calendar. Then the 2024, the calendar will be provided. If you are using to print the current month, then you need to specify calendar.month. You can specify that. You need to print the year-wise calendar, then we can specify like that. That is 25 calendar year can be provided. See, that much of simple if you are using in the Python programming. Only the thing is you need to understand the syntax. You need to practice the syntax. You need to practicing the syntax. Fine. See, today's session, we are going to discuss the basic terminology. What is language? What is programming language? What are the different types of programming languages are there? And translators, we are going to discuss. That is, first we are going to discuss that the language. Language. See, what is the language? The language is nothing but it's a communication medium. See, you are understanding you are completing the Java programming or any previous programmings we are completed, C program or anyone. Sriyaj, Sudhagar, you are the fresh to
Yeah,
understand the programming concept, or already you are learned the C program or the Java programming?
I know Java.
Yeah, fine, fine. Srija, Sriyas, you are completing the C language or direct you are joining the Python programming? Yeah, see that. See, first we are going to discuss the basic terminology, the language. See, what is the language? Before I need to explore the different types of the languages in the programming. What is the language in general? In general, what is the language? The language is nothing but it's a communication medium between the two things. The language is nothing but it's a communication medium. The language is a communication medium. Language is a communication medium between two things. Communication medium. Language is a communication medium, right? See, between the two things. Language is a tool which is used to interact with each other. The language is a tool. It is a tool. It's a tool to interact with each other. Each other. See, person to person, there are different types of languages. Person to person, the languages are English language is there. We can communicate from person to person. Telugu language is there to communicate with each other. English, Telugu, Tamil language is there. Hindi is there. That is to communicate from person to person. Those are the different types of languages. Similarly, the mission to mission language. That is a mission to mission, that is electronic devices, mission to mission. That is the language is the binary language. Binary language. binary language, right? From person to person, the languages are there. From mission to mission, we need to learn the binary language. The binary with the binary language, it can be communicating from mission to mission, mission to mission. See, if we are using person to person, the communication, we are using the language. If you are using English or Telugu or Tamil, then we know that some rules and regulations, how we can use that statement, right? Accordingly, if we are learning the language, if you are learning the programming languages, you need to understand the syntaxing also. You need to understand the syntaxing, right? See, see that. We need to understanding the syntax. So what is the programming language? That is, in general, I am saying that the language is a communication medium, which is a tool to interact with each other. If you want to person communication, those are the languages are there. From mission to mission communication, the binary language is there. Binary languages. Binary language is nothing but in zeros and ones. In zeros and ones only. In the binary language. In the binary language, zeros and ones only. We can't understand the binary language. Only the mission to mission, it can be understanding the binary languages. Binary language. Now, what is the programming language? What is the programming language? That is, the programming language, see that before I explore the programming language, person to person, person to person, there is no problem at all. That is, you may use the Telugu or you may use the Tamil or you may use the Hindi. There is no problem. Person to person, there is no problem. Is there. From mission to mission also, mission to mission communication. If you know the binary language, there is no problem. There is no problem. But the programming person to mission, if you want to communicate, if you want to communicate person to person, person to mission, then there is a problem. Is there. Then there is a problem. Is there. That is, for that you need the intermediate things will be required. Intermediate things will be required. The programming language, it is a tool which is used to communicate with the mission. What is that? The programming language. Programming language is a tool which is used to communicate, which is used to communicate with missions. Communicate with the mission. Means here from person to mission, you need to communicate it. Person to mission, you need to communicate it in the programming language. The programming language, which is a tool which is used to communicate with missions. With missions means from person to mission, you are communicating. What it is that in the programming language, in person to in person, they are using the high level programming language. Human understandable programming language it is using. Means we need to convert the human code into the mission code. See, the person can be understanding the Telugu or Hindi or English. The mission can be understanding in only the binary language. That is, it can be understanding in zeros and ones only. But you are understanding the language English or Telugu, we are understanding that. The programming language, it is nothing but a tool which is used to communicate with the mission, with the system, with the system. Means you need to convert, you need to convert, it converts the human code into the mission code. Human code into the mission code. What is the human code? In general, the English language. The mission code is nothing but in the binary language. You need to convert that the human code into the mission language. Human code into the mission language. That is the programming language. It's a software which act as interface between the human and the mission. It acts as interface between the human and the mission. That is, it's a software. It's a software which acts as interface between human and the machine. Human and the machine. The examples of the programming languages are the Java, Python, C programming, .NET, Go programming, etc. It's a software which acts as an interface between the human and the machine. We are using the programming language. It's a tool which is used to communicate from person to the machine, from person to the system. Means which need to convert the human code into the machine code. Human code is nothing but the English type of the language which is used to converting the binary language in zeros and ones. In zeros and ones. That is nothing but the programming language. Sir, what are the different types of programming languages? What are the different types of programming languages? Programming languages. See the different types of the programming languages. One is the low-level programming language. Low-level programming language. Second one is the low-level programming language. Second one is the high-level programming language. High-level programming language. Third one is the middle-level programming language. Middle-level programming language. What are the types of programming languages are there? The three types of the programming languages are there. Low-level programming language, high-level programming language, middle-level programming language. In the low-level programming language, the instructions are given into the low-level format. On which format? The instructions will be given in the low-level format. Here, in the low-level language, the instructions are given. Instructions are given in low-level format. In low-level format. Means the programmer is responsible to perform all the activities. All the activities. Right? In the low-level programming, the programmer is responsible to perform all the activities. Programmer is responsible for all activities. For all activities. See, these won't be any support from the programming languages. That is input, output level operations, the memory allocation, deallocation, right? There are the low level programming language is nothing but the mission understandable programming language. That is in zeros and ones only. It is understanding. In the high level language, the instructions are given in the high level format. The instructions which are given in the high level format. The instructions are given in high level format. In high level format. The programmer is responsible perform only the high level operations. High level operations is nothing but if you need to develop any application, you are the responsible person in the high level programming. That is, the programmer is responsible. The programmer is responsible to perform the high level operations. High level operations. High level operations is nothing but you need to develop any applications. You are the responsible person. That's why I'm representing the business logic. Business logic, you are the responsible person. See, this will assist you for everything only. So what are the high level programming languages are there? That is C++, Java, Python. Those are all comes under the high level programming language. In middle level programming language, both low level and the high level programming features will be there. That's why we call it as a middle level programming language. Middle level programming language is nothing but it has the both low level programming features as well as the high level the programming features. High level programming features. In the low level programming, the features, the example I'm saying that the C language is comes under the low level programming language, and the basic Fortran, Fortran, etc. Those are the low level programming language. In the high level programming language, the examples are the Java programming, the Python programming, Go programming, right? Those are the high level programming languages. High level programming language. The middle level programming language, it's both low level features as well as high level programming features are there. That's why we call it as a middle level programming feature, middle level programming. See, I'm telling the example is the C language, which is both high level features as well as the low level programming features are there, as well as the low level programming feature is there. That's why this is the C is a middle level programming language. C is a middle level programming language. C program which supports features of both low level as well as the high level programming. It is supporting both low level programming feature as well as high level programming feature. How I can say that the C is providing with low level programming language is C without pointers is a high level programming. C language without pointers is a high level programming language. High level programming language. High level program. C with pointers is a low level program. C with pointers is low level. C with pointers is a low level, right? See, those are different types of the programming languages. See, right now I'm telling that what is the language, what is the programming language. The language is nothing but it's a communication medium. It's nothing but a tool to interact with each other. If you want person to person communication, we need the language will be required. It's a communication medium will be required. It may be the English, or it may be the Telugu, or it may be the Tamil, or it may be the Hindi. The medium will be required. Communication medium is nothing but the language. Similarly, for mission to mission understanding also, we need the language that is nothing but the binary language. That is, it can be understanding the systems in zeros and ones only. Now, what is the programming language is nothing but programming language is a tool which is used to communicate with the missions. Means from person to the mission, you need to communicate it. We are using the programming languages. We are using the programming languages. In programming languages, we need to convert human code into the mission code. Human code into the mission code. For that, you need to learn the syntax. You need to learn the syntax. The programming languages converting the human code into the mission code. Programming language is nothing but it's a software which act as an interface between the human and the mission. Human and the mission. And the different types of the programming languages are the low-level programming language, high-level programming language, and the middle-level programming language. Those are nothing but the different types of the programming languages. Different types of the programming languages. Next, we are going to see the another terminology that is translators. Translator. See, in general, what is the meaning of the translator? What is the meaning of translators? What's the meaning of translator? Language is nothing but it's a communication medium. I'm telling that. What is the translator? Translator.
From one language to other.
Yes, that is nothing but in general, the translator is nothing but converting one form of data into another form of data. We call it as a translator. We call it as a translator or the converter. That is converting one form of data, into another form of data. Another form of data is called the translator. Is called translator or converters. Translator or the converter is nothing but converting one form of data into another form of data is nothing but the translator. For example, you are prepared the resume. You are preparing the resume. On which format you are preparing? The Word format you are preparing. .doc format you are preparing. See, you need to convert these into the PDF format. Then definitely you need the translator. For that, we are using the online compilers. We are using online converters are used. Online converters which are used to convert the document format to the PDF format. You are using the converters are using. Converting is nothing but the translator or the converters is nothing but converting one form of data into the another form of data is nothing but the converters or the translator. Translator is a software to represent the programming language. What I'm saying that the translator is a software. Translator is a software to represent a programming language. Translator, it's nothing but a tool which converts human readable code. Human readable code is nothing but like the English code. Into which format to convert is? That is nothing but mission understandable format. See, you are communicating with the system. You are understanding in the human code. Human code is nothing but in the high-level programming format. High-level programming is nothing but in the English format. To converting into which code? In the human understandable code. That is nothing but the translator is a tool which convert the human readable code into the mission understandable format. Translator is a tool which converts human readable code into mission readable format. Mission understandable format. See, what are the translators are available in the market? What are the translators which are available in the market? That is, the following are the translators available in the market. The translators are the different types of translators are assemblers and the compilers and also the interpreters. Those are the translators which are available in the market. I'll tell you that what are the differences between the compiler and the interpreter also. See, the assemblers is nothing but which is used to convert low-level instructions into the mission instructions. Assemblers which is used to is used to convert low-level instructions into mission level instructions. Mission level instructions. See the assembly programming 8086 is there. The assembly programming comes under the assemblers. The example is the assembly programming language. Assembly programming language. Low level programming language. The low level programming language. Low level programming language. The instructions are in the mnemonic format is there. The instructions are in the mnemonic format is nothing but like that. That is move 2000. Like that in the mnemonic format is there. That is, if you want to understand that, it's very difficult to understand such type of the languages. The assembly language like that is there. If you want to add that, that is, you can add it like that. That is, to understand this one, to add the two numbers, this is the code is there. The understanding is very, very different. The microprocessor and microcontrollers, which are comes under the assemblers. Microprocessor and microcontrollers comes under this one. Next, the another type of the translator is nothing but the second type of the translator is the compiler. Compilers. The compiler, it converts the low level or high level instructions into the mission level instructions. It converts the low level instructions to the mission level instructions are used in the compilers. I'll tell you that. See, the example for the compilers are, the C programming, the compilers are used. In Java programming, the compilers are used. Such type of the programming languages, the compilers are used. Why the compilers are used? To convert the low level instructions into the mission level instructions, the compilers are used. See, what it done the compiler? What it is doing the compiler? That is, it scans the total program at a time. It scans the total program at a time. In the compilers, it has to scan the total program at a time. If any errors are there, those errors will be displayed in the compiler. Now, what is the interpreter? What is the interpreter? The interpreter is nothing but, the interpreters are nothing but, the purpose of the interpreters is, it is also used to convert the low level or the high level instructions into the mission level. It is also used to converting low level or the mission level, low level program or the high level programming. It is used to convert low level or the high level instructions into the mission level. We are using the interpreters. What are the examples for the interpreters? The interpreters, the example is the Java, the Python, the programming, etc. See, if we are using the interpreter, it scans the program line by line. The interpreter, it scans the program line by line. And then the errors will be displayed. See, the Java is both compiled and interpreted programming language. Which one? Java is both compiled and interpreted programming language. See, everyone, the purpose is the same, which is used to convert the low level instructions into the mission level instructions. The assemblers are used. The languages are the assembly language, the microcontrollers and microprocessors they are using, these assemblers are using. Compilers is nothing but it converts the low level instructions or the high level programming into the mission level and mission level instructions. It is used to converting the low level or the high level, low level or the high level instructions into the mission instructions. Similarly, the compilers also the same. It converts the low level instructions or the high level instructions, into the mission level instructions. So what is the difference between the compilers and the interpreters? What is the difference between the compilers and the interpreters? What is the difference between the compilers and the interpreters? What is the difference between the compilers and the interpreters? Compilers versus interpreters. What is the difference between these two? That is the compilers versus the interpreters. Compilers versus the interpreters. What are the differences? You tell me. Just now I am telling that what is the compiler, what is the interpreter? What is the compiler and what is the interpreter? Anyone? Anyone?
So you said compiler scan the program line by line. No, the total program at a time, but this one interpreter program line by line.
Yes. That is nothing but both of them. See, the compilers, it is used to convert. It is used to convert. First step I am writing. It is used to convert human code into the machine code. Human code into the machine code. Same. The interpreter also the same, right? Which is used to convert the human code into the mission code. Human code into the mission code. And second point I am saying that it will scan the total program. In the compiler, it will scan the total program. It will scan the total program. It will scan the total program. But here in interpreter, that is, it will scan the program line by line. It will scan the program line by line. And also one more point I am saying that in compiler and the interpreter, if there is any error, then we have to debug the errors. If any error, then we have to debug. We have to debug the errors. We have to debug the errors. Here also, that is if there is any error, then only one error will be displayed and we have to debug that one. Because line by line, it has to scan it. Line by line, it has to scan it. Here in the compiler, the entire program has to scan it. How many errors are there? Those errors we can be rectified in the compilers. Whereas in interpreter we are using, that is here, if there is any error, then only one error will be displayed. Only one error will be displayed. One error will be displayed. One error will be displayed. Because you are scan the program line by line. And that error we have to debug it. We have to debug that. Why? Because in the compiler, it has to scan the entire program. Suppose the 10 errors are there, those 10 errors we can be providing at a time. Whereas in the interpreter, it has to scan the program line by line. That's why if there is any error is there on that line, that error can be displayed it, and then we can debug that one. Then only we can move forward to the next line in the interpreters. In the interpreters. See, the another difference I am telling that, another point I am telling that, another point I am telling that, all the errors will be displayed at a time in the compilers, because it scans the program entire one at a time only. It will scan the program completely, and then if any errors are there, it will be displayed. That's why all the errors will be displayed, will be displayed, will be displayed at a time, at a time. Here, only one error will be displayed at a time. Here, in the interpreter, only one error. Only one error will be displayed, at a time. Right? And also, what are the examples for the interpreter? What are the examples for the interpreter? The interpreter, the examples are the C language, C++, Java, etc. The examples for the compiler. And the examples for the interpreter. The examples for the interpreter are the Python, Java, and shell scripting, etc. are the examples. For the examples. And one more point I am telling that here, if we are using the compiler, if error rate is high, then we can recommend to go for the compiler. If the error rate is very high, then we can go for the compiler. When we are using the compiler is, if the error rate is very high, then recommended to go for the compiler. When we use the interpreter is, if error rate is low, then it is recommended to use the interpreter. If error rate is low, then recommended to use the interpreter. See, those are some of the points I'm telling that what are the difference, what are the compiler versus the interpreter. Compiler, it is used to converting the human code into the machine code. The interpreter also the same, convert the human code into the machine code. When here in compiler, it has to scan the total program at a time, but here it will scan the program line by line. If any errors are there in the compiler, then we have to debug those errors. Here, is there any error? Then only one error will be displayed at a time. That error has to debug it. Then only we can move to the another line in the interpreter. See, in the compiler, all the errors will be displayed at a time. Whereas in the interpreter, only one error will be displayed at a time. That error has to rectify it. Then we can move to the next line. The examples for the compiler is this one. The examples for the interpreter is this one. When we are recommending the compiler is, if error rate is very high, then we can go for the compiler. If error rate is very low, then we are using the interpreter. See, that is the terminology today's session I am discussing. The basic terminology today I am using. What is the language? What is the programming language? What are the different types of programming languages are there? What is the compiler? What is the interpreter? And the differences between the compiler and the interpreter I am explaining. Any questions related to this one? On the tomorrow session, I'll start the history of the Python and some basic programmings and how to use it. Python versions, how to execute the Python program in the offline and also the online compilers. I'm telling in the next session. Any questions?
the same time tomorrow also?
Yes, 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 yes. Okay.
Thanks.
Any questions? No questions are there? Then I'll end the session. Thank you.